In a move that has sent ripples across South America, Venezuela hosted a nationwide referendum, declaring a vast expanse of Guyana's territory as its own. This area, rich in resources and steeped in history, has now become a focal point of a century-long dispute. With over a third of Venezuela's population participating, an overwhelming majority voiced their support for annexing the Essequibo region, a claim further bolstered by President Maduro's decisive endorsement. As tensions mount, the question of sovereignty over Essequibo not only tests the resolve of Guyana and Venezuela, but also calls into question the principles of international law and regional stability, now central to discussions on South American politics. It shines a light on the enduring impact of historical claims and the strategic quest for resource control. The territorial dispute over the Essequibo region between Venezuela and Guyana is deeply rooted in the complex interplay of colonial legacies, the lure of natural resources, and national pride. This contention stretches back centuries to an era when European powers staked their claims on the New World, setting the stage for future conflicts. In the 16th and 17th centuries, the Spanish Empire, with its vast reach across the Americas, laid claim to what is now Venezuela. Meanwhile, the Dutch established colonies in the Guyanas, exploiting the area's resources. The British Empire, not to be outdone in the colonial competition, took control of the Dutch holdings in the early 19th century, renaming it British Guyana. The discovery of gold in the mid-19th century escalated the region's value, transforming the Essequibo from mere territory into a treasure trove eagerly eyed by colonial powers and newly independent nations alike. This gold rush not only intensified the region's economic significance but also spotlighted the strategic importance of controlling such a resource-rich territory. The British, aiming to formalize their territorial claims, commissioned Robert Schomburgk to survey British Guyana's boundaries in 1835. His demarcation, known as the Schomburgk Line, significantly extended British territory westward, encroaching into areas Venezuela considered its own based on colonial-era claims. Venezuela's immediate protest of this unilateral delineation marked the beginning of the territorial dispute, highlighting the tension between colonial legacies and emerging national identities. The Schomburgk Line, for Venezuela, symbolized not just a territorial loss but also a challenge to its sovereignty and historical claims rooted in the Spanish colonial era. This early stage of the dispute underscores the complexities of colonial borders and the lasting impact they have on modern nation-states. The controversy reached a pivotal moment at the turn of the 20th century with the 1899 Arbitral Award. An international tribunal convened in Paris ruled predominantly in favor of British Guyana, solidifying British control over the disputed territory. However, the legitimacy of the award was later questioned by Venezuela. Allegations emerged suggesting that the tribunal's decision was influenced by undue pressures, particularly from Friedrich Martens, the tribunal's president. This claim cast a long shadow over the arbitral outcome, fueling Venezuela's persistent refusal to recognize the award as fair or binding. The 1899 Arbitral Award became a focal point for Venezuela's later diplomatic and legal efforts to reclaim the Essequibo, embodying the contentious intersection of international law, colonial legacies, and national sovereignty. Throughout the 20th century, the dispute simmered, with Venezuela formally declaring its non-recognition of the 1899 decision. The discovery of valuable resources, including gold and later oil, in the disputed territory only heightened the stakes. As Guyana moved towards independence in the mid-1960s, the dispute gained international attention. The Geneva Agreement of 1966, involving Britain, Venezuela, and soon-to-be independent Guyana, was an attempt to establish a mechanism for peacefully resolving the dispute. However, a definitive resolution remained elusive, leaving the issue a source of bilateral tension and regional concern. This period saw both nations seeking to assert their claims through diplomatic channels, international legal forums, and nationalistic rhetoric. Underscoring the deep-seated nature of the dispute, and its implications for regional stability and international relations.